Good evening, folks. Sorry we're a wee bit late with a wee bit of a sound issue, but we think we've got it fixed. Well, hopefully we've got it fixed, but we're here anyway. So thanks very much for coming in, and we've got our friends back. G.S.I, John and Ralph have kindly came back into just a wee general chit-chat tonight about what they've been up to, their investigations and that. So thanks for coming in, guys. How are the both of you?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, we're cracking on now. We can get out and do some stuff. So obviously Halloween was a bit of a disappointment, but we'll put that behind us and onwards, as they say.
Good. Just see who's in the chat. Nicole, Andy, Gillian, Chaos. Thanks for coming in, folks. Hope you are all well. So obviously you are all back out now.
We are. Yeah, we was able to get back out after the second lockdown finished. We got plans already. So I think it was like a minute after the clock ticked over back into tier 3. We was out. We was in the car ready and just driving up to wherever because we hate being locked down.
Seriously, you were sitting in the car watching the clock to win a minute.
Not literally, no. But we'd had plans. So right, it ends on this day. This is where we go, and we're out. And we'd already made plans to sort of like shoot straight out.
I just want to say hi to Matthew as well. He's come in from the USA. I just saw it coming up there. So thanks very much for coming in, buddy. I hope you're well.
So
when you first went out, where was the first place you went to?
Which one was it, John? I'm trying to remember myself now.
Myself and James have got out to Codner Castle. Then myself, Ralph, Vic and James went to St Oswald's Church. And last weekend we was at Ivy House in Cheshire.
The Codner Castle, that's how do you pronounce it? Is it Codner?
No, the Codner one was just as lockdown happened, and as soon as it finished, we went straight up to St Oswald's Church and then Ivy House after that.
I need to apologise, folks, tonight. It's been a kind of manic last 30-40 minutes, so if I'm a bit muddled up, then bear with me. We'll get there eventually. So you had that one at the weekend that you were at, the quite serious one. And you get scratched as well, John. What can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, well, we just finished a Ouija board session in one of the upstairs rooms. And it was probably the weirdest room for me because there was a Ouija board drawn on the floor in chalk, glass jars upended all over the place, numerous symbols all over the wall. So it's obviously people had been up there, tried doing numerous different seances and possible rituals of sorts, We'd finished that and then we moved into the room opposite. I took my gloves off to do the Ouija board because I didn't want like a big woolly gloved hand on the planchette. And as Ralph will be able to attest, and Vicky unfortunately can't join us, as soon as that had finished, we was all freezing cold, the gloves went straight on. We moved straight into the other room, followed James and Vicky in. I don't know why, but I was in the middle of the room. You got 2 cameras in either corner. Vicky stood next to me as the K2 meter was going off crazy, absolutely mental. And Ralph started asking questions. He was asking, can you give us some evidence that you're here? And then he asked, can you show us where you stood? And next thing, it wasn't pain initially. I've been trying to sort of like explain it to the guys. It was like the center of my back got hotter, and then pain in about 3 seconds, almost like you'd been branded, not scratched. And then I felt the pain, and it was like, Jesus Christ. And I asked Ralph to have a look at, see if there's anything on my back, and he said, yeah, you've been scratched.
Did you get anything from the Ouija board session?
It kept going straight to goodbye. We did 3 in close succession to each other. The first one, we got very strange symbols coming through. Like I think we had some like VP97, Ralph, didn't we? It's really weird. Yeah. And a female sort of presence. Then we tried again and it went straight to goodbye. Then we tried again and it went straight to goodbye again. So we thought we'd obviously something's trying to tell us something, so we called it a day straight away at that. If the spirit instantly is going straight to goodbye, there's a reason why. So on Ralph's sort of like say so, it was like, right, this doesn't want to communicate for whatever reason, knock it on the head sort of thing. So we did, and then moved on to the next room.
So I tell you, obviously, Ralph, you're the Ouija board extras we spoke the last time you were on. You've convinced me to try it when they come down to meet you next year. Which I'm still a wee bit wary about, but I'll give it a go. I think I've
Be open-minded, bud, and give it a go.
I think I've got one insurance, so it should be all right. So what did you interpret for the session, Ralph, the Ouija board session?
Say that again, sorry.
What did you interpret for the Ouija board session? What was your kind of take?
The session was, like John said, it was a weird session. It was quick and abrupt, really, wasn't it, John? It was
very much so, yeah.
It was a female spirit we got through somewhere. I think they indicated around about 47 years old. They kept saying goodbye. We don't know whether it was protecting us from something else or, trying to scare us out of the building or anything. It was very little information, but the energy was very strong.
Very strong.
It was almost like it was very sure about what it wanted to do as well. When you got like a dithering within a conversation, you didn't get that. It was a very strong, precise, and it was almost like, no, that's it, giving you enough information. See, I've had enough. Or I've given you enough information and I don't want you on this board. It's dangerous. Because like John said, there was evidence of, shall we say, attempts of Ouija boards because it's all on pronto, been chalked on the floor. There was satanic symbols and that was on there, which were, were there. So either one or two things there, someone's read a book and decided to have a go at them, and or someone knows what they're doing and they've conjured the wrong sort of stuff up. So it was... we decided to do that session, that Ouija board session, sort of like later in our investigation, really.
So the scratches, John, have you still got them, or did they disappear after a while?
They was almost subsided the next day, mate. I had my wife put some antiseptic cream on it for me. I think it was the next morning, and she says they've almost gone. But as Ralph can attest, we've had people on Facebook today saying, "Oh, that must be fake. You must have done it to yourself. Somebody else has done it to you." I had 2 cameras on me. I've got 4 layers of clothing, a backpack on me, and I'm surrounded by an entire team. At what point did they see me either do that to myself or did they do it to me? And when Ralph first looks, you can see how red it is and how raised it is. It's instant. It's been done then. It's not an old wound as such. It's brand new, and all them are around me. If any of them saw me do anything, they'd be livid with me, because we're not that sort of team.
No, he's a that's what attracted Robert. That's what drew me to excuse me to you in the first place, because he's a genuine. I've watched a lot of your stuff, and he's a straight down the line, basically. There's
Absolutely.
no BS. No drama, there's no exaggeration. And I did watch a wee bit where you did get scratched, John, and as you say, you'd all your layers of clothing, you had your backpack on, so for you to do it yourself, it would have been quite a neat trick. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you would have managed it.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, like I was explaining to Ralph today, was it today we had a conversation, lad, or yesterday?
Probably yesterday, I think it was.
Yesterday. My behaviour afterwards, I'm a bit disappointed by, because where myself and Ralph, well, obviously as paranormal investigators, this is what we're looking for, that physical evidence. It's almost like the Holy Grail. And instead of getting happy about it, I actually got annoyed, because at the back of my mind, it was always a case of, well, I know we pick up on so much voice phenomena and energy, but there's never been anything physical. So it was always at the back of my mind, could they ever do anything physical? And when it actually happened, I wasn't prepared for it. So instead of being happy, I actually went the other way and got angry about it, like I'd been attacked. Because like I tried to explain to Ralph, if someone did that on the street to you, you'd retaliate, you'd get your back up and you'd put your defences up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I responded. So you'll actually see that in the video. I mean, I'm disappointed in myself, and I've apologised to Ralph and the rest of the team that I didn't take a minute to just think logically about it, of what an amazing thing had just happened, a paranormal event's taken place, where all I'm thinking is, shit, I've just been attacked. So I got angry about it and annoyed, and yeah, I didn't act in the best way. I wasn't prepared for it.
Well, we've got a photograph of the scratches, John, if you're okay with us to show it.
Of course, mate. Yeah, go for it.
It's your back of you.
Nubs,
I'll just say hi to Nubs and to Sean who came in.
And if I can just say to Gillian, I do apologise, darling. It was me that had the. I wasn't sure about the Stonewall effect at St. Oswald's. Ralph, I'd not heard of it before, and Ralph and Vicky were trying to open my eyes to it. So if I seemed a little bit ignorant to it, I wasn't meaning to. It was just a new thing to me I'd not heard before. But yeah, since then, Ralph and Vicky have opened my eyes to it.
So that's your scratches there, and even if you obviously you never done it yourself, and they're quite high up. You're around about the centre of your back, so there's no way physically that you could have done it. Yourself.
I mean, I bite my nails all the time, and the only thing that could do it is my nails. I've got no nails on my fingers because I bite them all the time, and I had woolly gloves on because it was freezing cold that night. Ralph can attest to that, and Vicky and James, they can do as well. The only time I ever took my gloves off was at the beginning of the evening setting up the camera equipment and when we did the Ouija board. I mean, Ralph, you can attest to that, mate.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously, when you look at the scratches as well, if you look straight down the middle of the back, if it was one of your own hands, you would see that splay out to the sides to come underneath one side, and it'd be more than one finger mark as well. You're probably looking at 2 finger marks.
Yeah.
Looking at that, it's literally just straight down, and it's down to the capillaries. So you can actually see the blood just about breaking towards where the worst part of the scratch is, about 3/4 of the way up. So, yeah. And like I say, we don't go around with this, what the skeptics are going to say, we're not about that. But,
we can't also change what the skeptics say, Scott. I mean, again, myself and Ralph had the conversation where it's a case of those people that are so closed-minded, no matter what happens, they'll try and find a rational explanation, even when there isn't one. And we can't get angry about that because it's just the nature of the beast. The people that respect what we do, know that we don't try and fake it, will just say, well, that's really interesting. Those that are too closed-minded to take that on, then there's nothing we can do about that. So there's no point in us getting arsy about it. You know what I mean?
No, you're totally right. There's Nicole saying scratching always just means this is someone to get your attention by doing that as well.
Well, later on in the evening, as you'll see in the video, not to spoil it for you, but we believe we communicated the spirit that did it because Ralph and Vicky were asking questions along the lines, are you the spirit that inflicted this on John? And we got a yes through. Did you do it maliciously? And we got a no. Do you believe John acted, he overreacted? And it said no. Were you doing it just for attention? And it said yes. So, I mean, that would go with the questions that Ralph was actually asking at the time. It's just me. I just took it all out of proportion, mate, because I wasn't ready for it.
Well, exactly. And as you see, you're always going to get the skeptics. You're always going to get the people who don't believe it or try to debunk it and say, well, it's fake, it's a load of rubbish, this could have happened. As you say, as the nature of the beast with the paranormal, and nothing you can say or do is going to make. I think the only way they would actually believe is if they had an experience themselves that they couldn't explain. Maybe if they get scratched or something.
Yeah.
And they say, well, they couldn't explain it. So I don't mean them any harm. I don't mean, a wall falls on top of them or something like that. Just, something gentle just to remind them. That's not just saying exactly just There they go. Paranormal investigators, we welcome the skeptics. My opinion is he's right. What do you think of that one, guys? Do we welcome the skeptics?
I don't mind the skeptics at all. I really don't. What I don't try and sort of associate myself with, it's not the skeptics, it's the people that are so closed-minded that even if they was hit in the face by a ghost, they would still deny its presence. There's no point in trying to communicate with them sort of people, because no matter what happens, there's no evidence out there that's good enough for them. Skeptics, myself and Ralph welcome that, and we always invite skeptics along on our investigations, so we can show them firsthand of what we do, and so they can experience it for themselves. The closed-minded people, for me, there's no point. And again, Scott, we can't get angry about it. That's just what they believe, and that's that.
Exactly, George. Matthew's saying haters will hate. That's he's totally right. Haters will hate. Skeptics and naysayers are two different.
Absolutely.
Yep. So if somebody's the evening state, thanks for coming in, buddy. I just I'm saying hello. As you see, these people that point blank refuse to believe, no matter what you do or what you show them, there isn't any point, because you're never going to get it. A skeptic, there's always that chance you can sway them.
Absolutely.
No brainwash them, but just can I say, well, explain this or explain that. And
I think, Ralph, if you want to fill this in for me, you have a skeptic that you were speaking to the other day. You actually showed the clip to. Is that correct?
Yeah. And again, it was one of those. Normally I've shown a couple of clips and they've gone, yeah, it could have been this and it could have been that, and it's like, well, valid point, but you wasn't there. It doesn't always show the angles of everything. I think one of the clips I showed him was where we got the rod orb at Cannock Chase. And it didn't show that we was on the side of quite a steep hill, and it didn't show the fact it was travelling up the hill against with no wind. He still didn't want to buy it, but when I showed him the one with the scratches, he went, "Yeah, I can't explain that." So it was interesting that he's a skeptic, but he was willing to accept when something defeated him. And I think, like it's being said, really, the skeptics are there. And they're saying, well, look, if you can bring me a really good piece of evidence, then I'm willing to turn around and go, yeah. But the ones that just really want to be closed-minded, it doesn't matter what you deliver to them, they're going to turn around and say, no, it doesn't exist. But generally speaking, though, these are probably the same people that, all want to go to heaven but don't want to die.
Yeah.
And it's
hit the nail on the head with that comment.
So...
I mean, I've been at Paranormal for many, many years, as I've said quite a few times, and I've met quite a few, no skeptics, but just, doesn't exist, and I'll say, you know what, I'm not going to argue the point with you, I'm not even going to try and convince you, that's your belief, and I respect that, this is my belief. I like the process of logically eliminating everything could be before I let the fear set in.
Well, that's sort of what we do as well. I mean, when you go out of us, Scott, when we go to Pendle Hill, you'll see we're the first ones to say, "Did you hear that? Yeah, but it's this. Right, fine, forget it. Did you hear that? Yes, it's this. Right, fine, forget it." We debunk everything that we can. The fact that on Saturday night I'm stood in the middle of a room with 4 layers of clothing, a backpack on, and 2 video cameras on me, and I still get scratched. Then you've got to go, hang on a minute. Do you know what I mean? That's just not right. That's not normal. That is 100% paranormal, and there's nothing else you can classify it as.
No, there isn't. I mean, I've watched that bit of footage, and I looked at scratching, what have you, and I've also seen footage before about so I'm not going to say any names or anything, but or somebody gets scratched, and you can tell. Just alluding to this, it's totally fake. And looking at yours, John, there's no way that it could have been faked or anything. And again, he's under that kind of team. See, I followed you for a while. I'm in close contact. We're meeting next year as well. and you can tell when people are genuine.
Yeah.
You know, they will, if they hear a branch breaking or something, they'll say, what was that? They don't say, well, that's a spirit. Did you hear that?
Exactly. Yeah, no, not at all. We're completely opposite. But I mean, again, Bud, as Ralph will attest, for my behaviour on Saturday after it happened, I've apologised to him about 4 or 5 times already because I'm really disappointed. And that's just for how I reacted to what happened. If I'd actually scratched myself, feeling that I'd let him, Vicky, and James down, and I've sort of like dishonoured my team, I would never be able to live with myself because I've just constantly apologised to him for simply my behaviour being wrong. Well, I feel it was wrong anyway. I didn't act as I think I should have done. But I don't know, maybe I acted in a completely appropriate way for the circumstance. I don't know. But I'm disappointed in myself as a paranormal investigator.
But that's the thing, I think you'd need to be in that situation yourself. You've done, many investigations and what have you, and you've never been sort of physically scratched or anything. So
No.
that's a good thing, and it just kind of happens right out of the blue. So I don't think anybody can gauge how they're actually going to react until they're in that situation. And
yeah,
some people make classes wrong, some people make classes right. It's just, I think you need to be in that situation. But that's Matthew. He's one of our team members for America. He says, sounds to me like you're doing your investigations 100% correct, my friend. They are, Matthew. They're a really good team. And they're on YouTube. You watch their videos, and they're all spot on. And they do as much debunking as physically possible, and I would recommend them. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, guys. I say it all the time. Do you know what I mean? You are quite genuine.
I appreciate the comments. Yeah, it's nice to
yeah,
hear
we
that.
do, Scott. It's very much appreciated. And that's when me and you first started talking about doing a YouTube channel, Ralph. That's how we said we would have to be. There's too much nonsensical stuff out there for me. So we said, look, if we get a shit video, people get a shit video. If it kicks off at night, it kicks off at night. They're going to get what we see, and it's as simple as that. If it's a crap video, it's because nothing happened at night, and we've stuck to that from day one.
Exactly. And you see, you can't go, yourself, you can go for 4 or 5 hours and get nothing. And
absolutely, yeah.
Or you can go for an hour, and the meters are constantly going off all the time. It's just at the end of the day, I think it's just down to spirit, basically. There'll always be something you and other folk can't explain. It's the nature of the beast. I think that's very true.
Noobs, we've been following him as well for a while. He does a great channel. I'm not sure if it's his sister or his niece or someone that we follow as well. He does a lot of live videos. I check in on them as regular as I can. They're great as well. We try and keep in contact with them as often as possible.
Nobbs is nuts. I go on a panel with
I like him.
And he's insane. We love him. He's a really decent guy, Bobby, but he's insane in a good way. If that makes sense.
He fits in with the group.
He fits right in, he fits right in. So where's your next investigation planned? I know Christmas is near enough upon us. Your plans over the Christmas period, or?
We did. We was looking at going out this Monday. Was actually going to hit Sherwood Forest, as we've been there a couple of times, but we've not been for a while. But it looks like the weather's moving in against us at the moment. So, I mean, myself and Ralph are going to conflab on Sunday and see how the weather's taking shape. But we've sort of said, look, if there's even the possibility of even heavy rain or high winds, it's the wrong location to be. So if that's what it is, we'll call it a day for Christmas and just try and enjoy some time with the families. And between Christmas and New Year, we'll find a location and get out then, I think. That was between us today, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah, we got Sherwood Forest on the cards, and then we got a undisclosed church place we could look at as well. So we've got a couple in the bag ready to go, and then obviously we'll start thinking about return back to Ivy House again as well at some point. But yeah, there's lots of places on our wish list that we've not got out to as well in between that. So yeah, hopefully, assuming that the restrictions don't clamp down again, we'll get out as much as possible to some different locations, as well as our favourites, I should say.
And of course, for the new year, we'll be meeting you guys at Pendle Hill.
Oh, excuse me. Sarah keeps getting up and down because of the cats, in case you're wondering. That's why she keeps disappearing, exiting that way, we're really looking forward to Pendle. We can't wait. The time just seems to be dragging by. It just seems to be totally dragging by. When we go to Pendle, we were watching, most, I was going to say most haunted there. Jeez, no most haunted hunts. And I talked to Danny Moss 2 weeks ago. We done a Pendle special. And they were on a live last week. But we kind of came up with a theory about, Malcolm Tower. Yeah. A lot of people reckon it's around about where Sadler's Farm is. But we kind of came up with a theory that it's over near. Now, I might pronounce this wrong. Cone.
Right.
Because my way of thinking was that, Alice, how far would she wander from her home? And so that's why
that's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You think, well, how far would she wander miles, or would she just, she was a kid basically. So she must have, to me, she must have met the peddler not far from, where she lived, and they took the peddler to what was the name of the pub?
I don't know.
They took the peddler to Combe. So to me, they would take him to the nearest pub, the nearest place of shelter. And so that's why I don't know if that's making sense. It's one of these theories I've got in my head, but see, trying to explain it, it doesn't come out right, if that makes sense. They've got this guy, he's had a stroke, and, they want to get him somewhere, so they take him to the nearest pub, and the nearest village was Combs, which would suggest that that's where Malcolm Tower kind of was round about that area, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Whereabouts were the Pendle witches supposed to have been tried and hanged?
They were tried at Lancaster Castle.
And is that in Pendle itself or further up?
That's just further to south side Pendle. Gillian and Steve are in the chat. They're kind of helping us on it as well. They were hanged. Yeah. It's not a playground, the spot that they were hanged, but they were held at Lancaster Castle, and I'm sure they were tried there. I know they were all taken there anyway, after they were arrested.
Right.
Gillian's saying, try and say Barnum's Wick. I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Barnum's Wick.
But no one won't be able to.
Barnum's Wick. Here, I say that. That was quite good, I think. Lancaster Castle. Gillian's saying, so they tried there. But I don't know if you've watched the 3-day special, but our kind of result out it was that we're all innocent.
Oh, really?
Wow. That was because we had Simon Entwistle with Danny in, and we had Charlotte in as well, who have all the connections to Pendle. And this was just our opinion, this was our conclusion, that the lot of them were totally innocent. Alice Nutter was caught up in it simply because she won a land disagreement, and the guy that he took offence at it, and so he wanted rid of her, and so the best way to get rid of her was just to point the finger.
Oh wow!
And say she was a witch, and that's what she was. Wrong place, wrong time, basically. The rest of them were just, to us, it was this Charlotte Underwood. Hey, Charlotte, how you doing, Doc? Thanks for coming in. To us, it was just a way for Roger Noel, who was the magistrate at the time, to get rid of problems and to elevate himself in the eyes of the king, because the king at the time was very, very paranoid about witches. He hated them and he wanted rid of them. So Noel saw this as a chance of climbing up the ladder, basically. If he could convict his people and get rid of them, then he'd shine in the eyes of the king. I mean, to me, some of them, like say, you know, old Demdike, etc., were probably white witches. I don't know a lot about witchcraft, but you know, I dare say they used herbs and what have you to, you know, do things. But the image of consorting with Satan and what have you is, to us, is, well, to me, was just totally fabricated just to get rid of them.
So, from what I've read about the Pendle witches and sort of like the energy that's supposedly haunting sort of like the area, it's supposed to be quite malevolent in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's just because of the injustice of the witches then?
You see, I asked Simon this as well. I think I asked Charlotte as well. I know a lot of people say Pendle Hill, but we've been told there's no activity on the actual hill. I think it's just called Pendle Hill because of the area. It's a surrounding area that's kind of active. And I think there is a lot of energy there. And to me, yeah, it could be because of what was done to them, because of the way they're mistreated and they were innocent, basically. And this is why they're still hanging around. But I think there's a lot, because of the sheer history of the place, you know, it goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's just, how can you put it? That's why it's really active, because there's so much history, so many spirits still kicking about. See, Charlotte, she spent her childhood in Pendle. But when we go to Pendle, I'd like to do the locations that are kind of, you know, less common. Charlotte put a comment up when it's disappeared. It's a very, very low energy due to negatives going on. I don't know if Charlotte wants to come up in the panel, if that's all right with you guys. If she's,
of course, yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
The link in, Charlotte, if you want to come up in the panel. I know, you know, you spent your early years in Pendle. Be great if you want to come up.
I think I joined in the last live that you guys were doing. I think Charlotte was on, if I remember rightly. And I came in and asked a few questions. Because I've always found the Pendle in the area fascinating. But like yourself, I've always had that feeling of sort of like, it's not right what's happened there. There's something that's untrue, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
There was demonized, weren't they, as witches, but it always felt false in a way.
It was really 2 seconds. I'm going to send a link to Charlotte if she wants to come up. She's totally welcome. Excuse me, buddy. There was, but then, I mean, back then, you know, I think being accused of witchcraft was the easiest. Charlotte, we'll pop the link into the chat then. Charlotte, be excellent.
Emailing it, it doesn't work on the chat now, remember.
All right, bear with me 2 seconds.
Dots and a load of hassle.
For some reason, the link's no working in the chat. Sorry about this, guys.
Hey, you're right, bud.
As you can tell, I'm not the fastest typer in the world. I'm still one finger typer, you know. I've mailed you the link, Charlotte. Hopefully it'll work. We've been having a couple of squirrely moments this evening, if I want a better word. But I mean, back then, the witch trials, you know, it was the easiest way to get rid of rival business rivals, love rivals, or people just didn't like. And there was hundreds upon hundreds of innocent people executed. That link's went, so Charlotte should be coming up. Hopefully the link's working. But Pendle's always held. I mean, I know there's been a lot of witch trials in the UK over the centuries, but Pendle's always held a fascination for me as well. Hey, Charlotte, how are you?
You all right?
Hi, Charlotte.
Hello, you all right? How are you guys?
All right.
I just thought I'd come on and watch you.
How you feeling after banging yourself? It was your head you hit?
Yeah, doing some cleaning at home, banged it on underneath my stairs and ended up with delayed concussion and whiplash.
No, that's John and Ralph at G.S.I. That's who we're meeting up with Pendle next year as well. But as you know, we're just talking about Pendle. I know, John, a couple of questions for you about the whole kind of area and atmosphere and what have you. Why it's so active, basically.
Yeah, for me, it's just because it was so unjust. Because it was all false. It wasn't. You can't say all of them weren't witches, because I do believe there would have been one or two. There's one or two nowadays, but I do feel a hell of a lot of it was unjust, and this is why you have got a negative energy there, and as you know, I'm not a big fan of the word of demon, because to me there's no such thing, because demons are just massive low energies, and I've done a lot of retrievals, I've done a lot of paranormal work, obviously, so I know what they are, and around there, I heard John say about that they were demonized, and they were, and it was very, very unjust, because a lot of the time these were normal people that just, they decided to turn on.
So you see, they were witches. See, my way of thinking is, it's just my opinion that to me, they were witches in the sense that they were kind of consorting with, Satan and what have you. They were kind of, with the herbs. As I say, I don't know a lot about witchcraft, but I think they were more kind of healers sort of thing.
And this is the thing, and this is what's in my bloodline, and it's what I'm supposed to be, but I just don't practice it as a white witch. And when I look back at my heritage and heritage from the area, I look back and it's like, I just think that could have been my nan, that could have been my great nan, that could have been, and they were normal people, they were trying to help people. And because people didn't understand, healing as we do today, it was seen as witchcraft, because it was something different. They just didn't like something that was different. It was, away from the norm. So if you weren't the norm, then you stuck out.
And obviously back then, I say, the peddler took the stroke, but back then they didn't know what stroke was. So, to them, he was bewitched. And I think that possibly that had a lot to do with it. So we're meeting John and Ralph down there next year, and we're busting. We can't wait to go, because
it is an amazing place. It is an amazing place.
Everything that was misunderstood or feared back then meant you were in league with Satan. I think she's right. I think the belief was rife back then. And then what's her name, Elizabeth Dendy, she was at 85, and the average lifespan was about 35. So I think she would have been looked upon, why she lived so long, why is she not dead yet? And I think she must have made a pact with Satan. But we want to do, I want to do, as long as John and Ralph are in agreement next year, to do the sort of less common places, everybody goes to Wellhead and Sadler's Farm.
Yeah, this is the thing. You need to, because it's like I always say, any place that people go to do paranormal investigations, if they've been done, you know, as a medium, I understand where spirit come from, because they actually get fed up of being reinvestigated all the time, and it's like, oh, not these people again, or not more people again, and they get fed up, so they don't react for you. So to go to somewhere that's not, you know, not been done, and it's a lot better to get evidence.
If it was a bad crop, blame the widowed old lady in the village. She must be a witch. She was a form. A form of bullying. Again, I would agree with that. What do you think of that comment, folks?
Well, yeah. Everything seemed to be black and white then. It was either one or the other. There was no compromising or in between, was there? So, obviously, I'm far from an expert when it comes to witches and that. So, but yeah, evidently, like it's already being said, if you oppose the norm, and then obviously you was dealing with something that can be understood, and that was it. You're condemned.
Well, it's like with Alice Nutter. You know, she was a strong woman, and she had land, and they didn't like at that time for a woman to actually be outspoken and actually stick up for what she believed in, and that was why she was seen how she was. She was no witch.
Yeah, well, I suppose them were not really heard of.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think sort of like going back, Christianity was such a strong religion at the time. If you wasn't Christian, then you was in league with Satan. There was no middle ground, or you couldn't be anything else. You was either Christian or you was wrong. And we all know, you know, how things like that extend to racism and things like that nowadays. You know, there's a myriad of opinions, and all of them can be correct.
It was, as I say, with the case of Alice Nutter, you know, I think one of the other issues was that they didn't have any defence in court because nobody dared stand up. You know,
well, she didn't get the chance to give any defence, did she? They wouldn't allow it.
No, you know, and with the rest of them, nobody would stand up against the king, basically. And so I think as soon as they went into that courtroom, their seal was fate. Their fate was sealed. What are you laughing at? Because I says the seal was fate. It's the same thing, really. We're in Scotland, we're driving back to front, you know. I'm like kind of fat Yoda kind of thing, you know. Field say as you, whatever. But see, I was not. She's actually the one. You know, I feel sorry for them all, but I feel more sorry for Alice Nutter because she came from a a different kind of background, family background, and she was just dragged in over a land dispute, and you know she ended up at the end of her rope, and you know it's just. But it's always had that kind of pull. I don't know. We use guys why. Are so drawn to it. I can't explain the pull it has, even though we're up in Scotland. It's always a kind of pull for me to go there and visit the place and investigate it. And I've never been able to explain that.
I mean, part of that is because you're a sensitive.
Is that why it is? It's just anything to do with Pendle Hill, I need to watch it. You know.
I mean, for me, myself, it was, I mean, God, admitting that I'd watched Most Haunted is embarrassing enough, but it was an episode from Pendle Hill, and there was so much negative energy there, and it wasn't a fact that when I was watching it, I was thinking they're making up the negative energy, but what I felt is it was false. It was negative, but it was negative for a reason. It wasn't like they was trying to be nasty because they were nasty people. There was something behind it, like an injustice. Do you know what I mean? And that just completely put me off watching Most Haunted at that time because they were just downplaying it as demonizing, oh, the witches, they're bad, they're trying to kill people, you know. And that's what you're saying is incorrect. Yes, it's malevolent energy, but there's a reason behind it, and you're not showing that. You're just demonizing whatever's there, sort of thing. And that's what sort of like put me on to Pendle. It was like there's more behind the story than what you're actually showing, and I want to know what it is. Do you know what I mean?
There's something in the background. I mean, the most haunted. I don't slag off ghost shows and what have you, but
Really?
I don't. Press a button or something. I don't slag off ghost shows.
Hey, behave.
All right. Sorry, boss. Sorry. I forgot what I was saying there. But I think it was Halloween special they done at Pendle Hill, and they done Tyndale Farm. And I always remember they were down in the basement, and I really, God rest his soul, but Derek Corey was saying, I always remember there's 2 witches here just now, and there's about another 5 coming over. So I think they must have been busy somewhere else, whatever, getting dressed or something, I don't know. But he says there's another 5 coming over, and we're really going to have problems here tonight and what have you. And that kind of stuck with me, because after that, same as you, John, I get into Pendle Hill, and then I started to learn, well, Tyndale Farm wasn't around at that time. It wasn't built to that time. So I'm thinking, why is Tyndale Farm? Because it always does seem to pop up, every now and again, Tyndale Farm, but there's no connection between Tyndale Farm and the Pendle Witches. What do you think, Charlotte? Because you spent your kind of childhood there with Tyndale Farm. Do you think there's anything at all with that location?
No. Yes and no, because any land you are going to have. Sorry, my little one's in the background here at the side of me. She's still awake. So, you're going to have lots of energy on land anyway, because obviously, as I explained to you when I was on, Pendle Hill in that area was used to dump World War II bombs that were unused, so you've got energy from all that. Obviously this is way before then, but you've got energy from for many years from different people that have passed on the land. And I'm going to go to what John was just saying about the Most Haunted program itself. And I remember I actually watched that one, John, that you were talking about.
Yeah. And
I feel for Derek, because I know a little bit of the background on. I'm so sorry, she's being a bit noisy in the background.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
I know a bit of background on that program in particular, and I think Derek got a bad rap on that program, bless him. But when I was watching that program, I remember watching, and they were in the cottage, and he was saying that I can't remember which witch it was now, but he was saying, "Oh, so and so's coming," and I just thought, no, they're not. I said, my ex-husband at the time, I said to him, there's actually 6 or 7 people stood around him, but he's not noticing any of them. And these were obviously spirit, but he hadn't noticed any of them. And he was focusing in on something that actually wasn't there. And if you remember, John, in that same program, because it was like a weekend, wasn't it? The whole thing. And they went to Clitheroe, didn't they, to one of the hotels, and they were talking about aliens being present in the hotel. There's nothing in that hotel. I've been there many a time. I lived in that area. So it was, I have to say my piece, and I do feel Most Haunted gave paranormal shows quite a bad rap, and that's why it's ended up as it is, because not what you will see on the program is what actually happens. And I think that's why people have a bad look sometimes on paranormal investigations, because it's not at all like what it's made out to be on there.
It's not like that at all in any way, shape or form. I was trying to explain that to somebody at work only yesterday. It's Hollywood has demonized or exaggerated what the paranormal experience actually is. And so you can stand there for hours and not get so much as a blow of wind or anything. It can be just like you stood in your own house. I said, what you don't see is, because we cut it together, is the bits in between.
Yeah, like the 3-4 hours that you stood there with nothing going on.
Freezing to death, shivering, just chatting amongst yourselves. Exactly. That's what it's really like. It's not when you see the programs on Most Haunted where they go to different locations every week and they get the most activity every single week. If it was like that, it'd be amazing. Our job would be so much easier. But it isn't. It's not like that. We have to search for the stuff that's really out there, you know. And
I think
proper
for me, that's
paranormal
why.
investigators know.
It's like when I take my team and guests out, investigating, it's yes, I am a medium. Yes, I get stuff through, but actually, I want people to experience it for themselves. So I don't go out and go, oh, this is here, this is here. So I will do a recce at the beginning anyway, because I can just, as I said to you before, I can just touch a wall and I can see hundreds of years back if the building is so old. So I can pick up on lots of things, and I can just walk into a building and pick it up. But I like people to experience it themselves. That's why it's so important to not just have a medium, but have tech too, so that people can see things with their own eyes with the tech.
Absolutely.
And I for me, I don't know if all mediums think the same, but I love a bit of tech. There's nothing wrong with it, because everybody gets to see then what I see or I hear or experience. So it's quite good. But yeah, you're dead right on this. Definitely not what they make it out to be.
Well, Ralph actually rang me yesterday and said, was having a conversation about all the equipment that we've got. He said, do we need to take it all with us, And I said to him, look, spirits like to communicate in a myriad of different ways. We're not carrying all this equipment simply because we can say we've got all this equipment. We're doing it because we might need the spirit box, we might need the K2 meter, we might need a REM pod. It all depends what the spirit feels like communicating in that particular evening,
Exactly.
Spirits like different things. So we're carrying it to give us the best opportunity to try and capture something. And that's the only reason we take it all.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on investigations where a K2's just been sat there and done nothing. And then I've been on ones where it's flown off the table. And there's totally no explanation, but it's an energy that's done it, and I love a K2. They're fantastic. I love them. You obviously have to debunk first, as we know.
Yes,
but when we use them in the correct way, they are amazing, because it just shows you. Obviously, it can't light up of its own accord,
No.
Unless it's obviously, as we know, we need to debunk and it's near something electric. Then fair enough, but. They're amazing. I've seen some amazing evidence with those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking to the previous comment that somebody put up regards to Hollywood is the reason why paranormal's got, it's ruined, television has ruined paranormal. I think that's why now certain skeptics, or not skeptics, the naysayers, just won't believe anything that you say, regardless, because of television and because of Hollywood. Because they've made it so far-fetched that it is difficult to believe. But when it actually happens, it's, they won't take your word for it.
But isn't it amazing, like, for all of us, isn't it amazing when we can actually see things, all of us, or the whole everyone that's there, everyone notices something. It's just amazing when that happens. It's very, very rare, but it's so lovely,
It's amazing. I don't know if Scott mentioned to you, Charlotte, that I got scratched at the weekend on one of our investigations.
Okay. No, he didn't. No.
No, not yet. No.
Do you want to show the picture again, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 seconds. I'll
Take
find
it
it.
up. There's ghost witches. Actually, comedians said by learning you're born with it. I would say you're born. Everybody's born with a certain type of ability, but it's down to the individual whether they actually open up to it or not. I don't know, what do you think, Charlotte? Would you?
So yeah, everybody is born with what they, and I don't like the word. I've never liked the word. That's why because I don't work on a psychic level. But everyone is born with a psychic connection so everyone can connect to spirit. Some people choose to do it. Some people choose to ignore it. Some people just want to, they learn all about it. But like with me, I was born with it on both sides of my family, so it's just hit me tenfold. With some people, they're born with it, but they don't do anything until they're older, and then they start to learn. So anyone can do it, but obviously you still have to learn the basics of connection with mediumship anyway.
We've got this photograph ready, showing a wee bit of John's body tonight, but
it's nothing much to look at, I must say.
I'm not in a position to give an opinion. Sorry,
Okay, what's to your left?
That's my glove. That's my hand.
No, to the left of your glove, because there's a there. So there's a
What?
figure there.
Where are you looking?
Oh yeah,
You
that might
probably
be
won't see it.
Vicky.
You may not see it. It's to the left of your glove, where your arm is.
Yeah, if you go down a bit, it looks like the rim of someone's trainer. Can you go down
Yeah,
there?
right
It looks
at the
like
bottom, yeah.
That thing in the corner?
Yeah, but I want
that's
to
it.
come up.
Looks like the
That
edge of
does look,
someone's
yeah.
trainer.
But then it also looks, if you look, see, I don't know, I've reviewed hundreds and hundreds of blooming videos and photos. But to my naked eye, I have to say, to the left, there's a male. There's a male stood to the left of you. Not this is a spirit. This is not somebody that's living. Right to the left of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Send me that picture. I'll see if I can.
See, somebody else, Charlotte, managed to pick up on a female in the doorway just before this happened.
Okay.
Vicky, who was with us, she's a practicing Wiccan. She didn't sense anything at the time.
Okay.
And Ralph,
it's a male that's done that to you. It's not female.
it's a male.
Yeah.
We didn't pick up on a male during the evening, Ralph, did we? At least we didn't seem to have one come through.
We didn't seem to, but I had concerns that the female was trying to protect us against another spirit.
You did, yes. Yeah, you said that.
And that was more intuition than anything. I'm not psychic or mediumship by a long shot.
Yeah, I am going to say to you that the female that was present, sorry, this is normal for me. I'm used to doing this. So the female that was present with you, Ralph is correct. She was on a protection level, okay? But the male was not. So where was it where you were? Because was there a lot of land where you were as well?
What do you mean by land?
Yeah, it was an open area. So it was an old farm. Old farm. One side there's some lived-in dwellings. This was an old farm. It's called Ivy House. It got about 4 acres of land with it, but then surrounding it was an open fields, very countryside set.
Okay, so if you were to look at the land registry details on that, so where you were stood, so to your left there would have been an old building. Was that still there? So where you were stood in that picture, and you've got the scratch on you to your left, was there a building there? Because I'm just seeing a building should have been there.
So it was in the top right bedroom, weren't we, bud?
Yeah, it was in the top bedroom. So the wall closest to the left side where you see in the image, that was dwellings on that side, lived-in dwellings, semi-detached houses.
Okay, and they're still there now?
They're still there and lived in there. On the other side, there were some outhouses on the right side of it.
Fire damage they was.
It's more the left. I want to come to the left. It's the left that has grabbed my attention more than the right.
There are, if you looked up Ivy House on the internet, you'll find it, and it has got some pictures on there because they did try and sell the property for about $750,000 not that long ago.
Okay.
And it's very old. Downstairs, you'll see the floor markings. I mean, they got pieces of paper from the early 60s still in there. It's all
from the young lad, Ralph, was from the 30s.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you guys, do you know if there's underneath, because I've just been shown underneath and it looks to me like a sitting room. It's got a fireplace, obviously an old fireplace. There's nothing in it now. It's like an open one. But I'm just being shown to the left of that, and I want to come to floorboards. Open the floorboards up, and there was a box in there with also a journal. Do you know if that has ever been found?
I don't, but there were floorboards up in one of the rooms because we had to be careful. A lot of the rooms did have open fireplaces as such. But no, I mean, there were paperwork lying around. A kid's book was lying around that had been scattered all over. Pantry had some books in, ironically. But no, we didn't see any, but there were floorboards that had been taken up, yeah.
Okay, I've just been shown the 23rd of August, 1935. No, hold on. No, not 35. No, so 23rd of August, 1925.
1925. No, it was around that time. I'm trying to remember the exact date that we got. We think we got a kid come through, or there was certainly cards indicating that a 5-year-old had passed away somewhere around that period.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can remember. But I'm sure that was the early 30s, though, thinking about it. I think that
It was 1930 on his eulogy card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to come before that. It's 1925 because at first they threw it in at me at 1935 and then they whacked me to 1925.
There was that much paperwork, Charlotte, that we didn't actually go through it all. I mean, we was taking photographs and scanning it with the camera and stuff, but it was almost like a quick look through, if you get what I mean. We didn't study it properly.
Did you find a picture with a little boy and a woman stood next to him in particular? Just a boy and a woman stood next to him.
What was that picture you accidentally knocked over, John?
It was a man. It was an old man, like sat on I think it was either sat on a chair outside or stood outside on a balcony.
Okay, this is an indoor picture. This is a picture taken by a fireplace because there's candles burning on it. And okay, there's a little boy sat down. Mummy stood next to him. She's got a long. I think she was in mourning because she's got a long black gown on. Obviously, there would have been black and white photos anyway. But this lady's in mourning. She's got a long black gown on. She's got the white hair. She's got dark hair, but it's tied up in a bun.
Okay. It's interesting you give that description because someone on Twitter said they thought they saw a female matching the description you've just given near the doorway when John got scratched.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that,
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not being shown this at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if she was your protector.
I was just going to say, was she there as protection against the person that was in the room with us?
Yeah, I would. As I say, I'm not being told yes or no from my guides here, but I would hazard a guess that she's protector because I feel like she would have been the protector of that home. Okay, what is her name?
So was she the young boy's mother?
Yeah. She's okay. Elizabeth is part of her name. Okay. I need you to take this name down because I don't know if you can do some research. Okay,
go for it.
Okay, so Elizabeth, is it the first name or middle name? Okay, so it would have been Elizabeth, and then I've got an M, and I want to put Mary as M, and then Jones as the surname. Okay. Sorry, my little one's in the background again. Shh. And I want to come to the little boy as William.
Okay, we got Reginald, wasn't it?
Reginald, yeah.
Reginald, you have got the name of an older man there. That's an older man that's at that property.
Well, on the eulogy card, it said Reginald. Oh, God, I can't remember. Reginald something.
Don't forget, though, they used to be namesakes, didn't they?
Yeah.
So if it was that child that you're talking about, then it could be that he was a namesake from a grandparent or something like that. But there's an older gentleman with the name of Reginald James. But he's got a different surname. What is that surname? Reginald James. What is that surname? I can't see it. I can't see the surname on him. I know it's different to the woman's. I have a feeling that these are from different timescales.
Right. Okay.
I'd be interested to come. I'd love to come to this place.
Well, how about next time we go, we give you a shout, and you're welcome to tag along with us, Charlotte, if you want.
Oh, bless you. That'd be lovely.
Yeah. It'd be nice to take Scott and Sarah, but I think they're a little bit too far away. Cheshire, sort of Liverpool way, Scott. What do you think?
Here, Liverpool could do it in Liverpool about 5 hours. That's nothing. That's fine. We'd be on board.
Yeah, but 5 hours there, 5 hours back, mate. That's half a day.
I used to drive.
That's nothing for us.
That's nothing.
As long as you leave the cats in the car.
Sometimes if we're bored, you know, if Casualty's known or something, or EastEnders is crap, we jump in the car. That's nothing. I used to drive the lorries. So.
I mean, that's the most active place we've ever been. So why don't we try and arrange something to get you guys there as well? We'd love your take on it. You know, I mean.
Just very quickly, John, at the time you were there, did somebody feel a dog around their legs?
I don't know, but actually James asked me, James is our fourth member of the team, that looks like an animal scratch, he actually said to me. And he says, is there any notion of a dog in the house?
Yeah, I've just been shown a dog wrapping around somebody's legs, and I want to come to Ralph as well with this.
Go on then.
Did you notice? Okay. Did you notice at all? Did you notice at all where it would have been colder around your lower legs? And forget about the fact that yes, it could be breezy and stuff, but different to a normal breeze. So like icy cold just around your legs.
I can't remember, to be all honest. It wasn't something that I picked on instinctively that night. Even thinking back, I can't remember. No, it was very difficult. I mean, obviously, because all the temperature gauges that we had as well are going to be no lower than waist height as how we hold them. That. So we didn't go with that information. If we had the information, we might have turned around and set something lower just to sort of give that indication. But yeah, as you say, it's a drafty house anyway. So even if I did experience that, I would have more likely turned around and debunked it for a draft or something like that.
Yeah.
When myself and Ralph walked up the stairs, Charlotte, from the bottom of the stairs to 3 steps from the top, the temperature stayed the same, but there was a massive, noticeable atmosphere change, almost like it had become thick. As the further you got up the stairs, the atmosphere seemed to close in around you. I went up first and said that to Ralph and said, right, see what you can feel. And he got to the 3rd step and he was like, Jesus Christ, what's this like?
Yeah, and it's very noticeable when you get, obviously you go to different energy levels, but also as you guys know, it's like, and I've said before, you know, when you're investigating somewhere, it's like peeling an onion. You know, you might go there and just pick up one century, but there's more and more and more to pick up, you know. But sometimes, like you say, when you go up the staircase in particular, that staircase may not have always been there for starters, as we know, you know, because places move around, but you tend to find it's very strange with staircases. I don't know why it is. It just happens. But you do notice a difference in the energy levels. And it will, like you say, it can really hit you. And I know with me, when it starts to become a very negative energy that's around me, I feel like something is hitting my solar plexus, so my chakra that's above the tummy button. And it can make you feel quite sick. Right.
Okay.
You know, so this is one of the and this is when straight away I know it's a negative energy. Okay, and so, but it doesn't have to just happen to me that way. It happens to other people that way. I've seen it happen, but it does become very oppressive, like you just said to me, very heavy.
Yeah.
And so, with that sort of thing, you know, I always say to people, you know, when I first went out with a paranormal team, they didn't believe that you had to put protections on yourself at all, but you do, and it doesn't stop you getting anything through. It just stops you taking anything home with you.
Right.
You know, and so just when you do get that, just be you've got to just be forceful and go, this is not going to affect me, this is not going to attach itself to me. So actually put that thought in your mind. But yeah, when you're coming into the different energy, I want to say energy fields, because they are all different. If it is such a negative energy, you will get that. So you'll go from having just a plain old normal, you know, setting, feels all right 1 minute, next minute, boom, this energy can come in the room and it just engulfs it. Absolutely engulfs it.
Interesting.
Got a question. Just why don't ghosts fall through ceilings?
Do you want me to answer that one wholly honestly? Right. They're not, for starters, they're not ghosts. Ghosts is just a word that Hollywood use. It's not ghost. It's entity, energy, whatever you want to call it. They don't walk through walls or doors. We forget that, and you guys know yourselves, we forget that these buildings have been changed and changed and changed. A lot of these ones that you see supposedly walking through walls are residual energies. They are doing their normal daily routines of what they did when they were alive, and they don't even interact with us. And these are the ones that you see go through walls, or supposedly go through walls, ceilings, doors. They're not actually, because those walls, ceilings, doors weren't there when they were there. And that's the only reason why you see it happen.
It's the same kind of theory as, you know, you see a ghost maybe from outside, maybe from the knees up.
Yeah, we've had this conversation, haven't we?
Yeah, we've talked this before, because obviously underneath that, whatever road, or, you know, there was another road there at a track at some point, you know, in the past, you know, so it is along the same kind of theory.
Well, it's like land grows over time, so people think they're floating. They're not floating, they're walking, but we just don't see their feet or legs.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. So with that said, I'm going to end it there because I know John and Ralph are kind of stuck for time, but can I keep you three on here just for a couple of minutes after we go off, if that's all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I won't keep you forever, just, you know, but we need to get that set up for our investigation, because I think that would be immense. That would be really, really good.
Yeah, we're more than happy to.
And, you know, we're about 5 hours away, which is nothing. You know, 2 toilet breaks and we're there. Do you know what I mean? The end of the story.
What do you mean 2?
All right, 5. But we'll buy a bucket. You know what I mean? So thanks very much for coming in, everybody. We're on tomorrow night at 9 o'clock with our Para Xmas, our Xmas special tomorrow night. So hopefully you can make it. You are all very welcome. I want to thank Charlotte, Ralph and John for coming in tonight. And
No problem at all, bud.
Me gate crashing.
But you know, we don't mind. Just before we go, Ghost Witches was asking about, as a way up, about courses and what have you.
Courses.
Mediumship courses.
Right. Okay. So very, very quickly, I am a tutor to help people progress with mediumship. So if anybody would like to, even as you know, as you've become one of my students, everyone's welcome to come on there, even if you just want to know how to connect to spirit. And I always really encourage people who work in the paranormal field to come and join, because it helps you when you're doing investigations to connect to spirit in an easier and better way. Okay, so it's a really good way of doing it. As for going out and paying thousands or hundreds of pounds for courses, don't do it. Find somebody that you gel with as a tutor, and I'm not going to say expert, because nobody's an expert, we're always learning, but somebody that's had experience. Make sure you gel with them as a person and learn from them. You know, I always say to my students, you will come to a point with me where you cannot learn anymore and you need to go to someone else. So I will help find you that someone else, and vice versa. The mediums that I work with, they all do the same for me, you know. And it's, when I'm teaching, I always say to my students, I am teaching you to be a better medium than I am, you know, and that's how it should be. So like I say, don't go out and spend hundreds. Come and learn with somebody that doesn't charge. Mine's £1.50, and you only have to, that's to cover the Zoom cost. I don't charge for my training. Really, I don't charge for training. I don't believe you should. Okay, because you're trying to help people to experience, and also for people that have struggled with spirit for many years and how to connect with them, have had problems with them, it helps them to get, sorry, okay, baby girl. It helps them. Sorry, don't tell girls I fuck. Sorry, she's here in the background. Okay, so it just really helps some people to actually see that they've got a way of connecting to spirit.
Well, Charlotte, you do your course on a Sunday night. Are we still on this Sunday?
Yes, indeedy.
Good. As Charlotte said, I'm one of your students. I've only done one class so far. I was a bit up and down with my Wi-Fi, but I really did enjoy it. It's back this Sunday, so I can pop the details over to Ghost Witches.
No problem.
You know, I'm not inviting folk in.
I encourage people to come in and actually, just because a lot of people will try and connect with spirit without knowing the basics of grounding, opening and closing your chakras, and protection. Protection is so important, as is grounding, okay? Especially if you're going out on a paranormal investigation, because people can go out being a paranormal investigator for years and years and years and not realize what they're taking home with them. And that thing that they take home with them can affect them for 10, 15, 20 years to come. So it's better to be protected and actually go out and experience it a little bit better than to not have anything at all.
Exactly. So Ghost Witches, I'll mail you the details, and it's really, really worthwhile getting in and, you know, attended the course. I'm looking forward to this Sunday. Get back into it with a good Wi-Fi signal, so I won't keep disappearing this time.
2 hours peace and quiet for me.
Sarah gets 2 hours peace and quiet, so that's a bonus for her as well. So it's all good. So thanks again for coming in, everybody, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. For our Para Xmas special. So take care for now and stay safe.
Cheers.